Hello everyone, my name is Joshua and this is the 172nd video on my video journal series. Today's date is Thursday, the 30th of July 2026. How's everyone been? I've been pretty good, thank you. And today I went out to eat with my mum. Now I said before I don't really go out to eat often, but my mum takes me to the specific place where they have this dish called a prawn linguine, which has prawns, some shredded cheese, spinach, pasta, and these mini sausage bits. And it's a very lovely dish, and I had a bit of hers. But I turned to my mum and I say, Mum, why do we always go to this specific bistro? And why do you always order the exact same dish? But I digress, because whenever I go to a pub or bistro, I just get the exact same thing, which is a chicken palmy. And obviously, that's what I had today, alongside some chips, salad, and a small portion of gravy. And it was a pretty nice dish. We had a good time, but afterwards, I went to this shopping center nearby called Rockdale Plaza Shops. For those who don't know, it's a shopping center located in the southern Sydney suburb of Rockdale, which itself is located just a few kilometres south of our major international airport, Sydney Kingsford Smith. It's sort of near the ocean. It's a very nice place, and I used to go there a lot as a kid, but not much nowadays. But yeah, I walked inside of that shopping center through the food court entrance, and I've been last time I went there was actually 1 or 2 weeks ago, but before that, it might have been like years before since I last stepped inside of that place. And I can see that a lot has changed over the last couple of years in which I hadn't really gone there regularly. I know as a kid they used to have a JB Hi-Fi, EB Games. Even before my time, they had like a Blockbuster and Franklin's as well. But nowadays it's more like more of a, I guess, what would you call it? You got like some flagship stores like Big W and Woolworths and Bingley and all of that, but it really is just there for like, I guess, locals. There's really, I guess, no sort of big recognizable stores there anymore, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I always like local shops, local business owners. But yeah, going inside, even in the food court, I noticed that a few stores aren't there anymore. There used to be a Donut King. For those who don't know, Donut King is Australia's version of Dunkin' Donuts. And I used to go there a lot as a kid. You had those donuts with the mini plastic toy on top. It was great. But I believe now that's occupied by a Sushi Hub store. And then I remember there was also an Agalo, which is a Portuguese style chicken place. They're actually franchised. I've got a few stores around Sydney, but nowhere near where I live. And I used to remember, oh yeah, the chicken salt was like top tier as a kid, and I used to get chicken there with my grandmother. But yeah, they moved out a long time ago. And obviously, you still got the McDonald's. There's this like a Chinese place which is still there even after all these years that I used to go to get some like cheap fried rice. And yeah, walking through the food court, I was in like the sort of like central area, and just looking around me, it's a very like linear shopping center. You pretty much have like four different ways to go. You can go to your left. You'll have the reject shop and like all the barber shops down there. If you go to the right, you'll have obviously the food court, and then you can go upstairs. There's like a Service New South Wales and a Bingley, though it's a very small area, and also a Rebel. Rebel's like another flagship tent, but yet again, though, it's more like just there. It's not really like a very spacious sort of area upstairs. And then if you go further inside of a shopping center, if you turn to your left, there's a Big W, Woolworths, and like a few other specialty stores. Then if you just turn right, you'll just find a lot of like grocery stores. There's a news agency, and I'm pretty sure there's an Audi there also. Yet again, though, the plaza is always constantly changing, so I'm just trying to like remember from what I saw today. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So it is quite linear. It is a, pretty, I guess, relatively old shopping center. But yet again, though, one thing that hasn't changed is the floor. The floor is still the exact same pattern, exact same color. It's like this like polished granite, blue, yellow pattern. I used to remember playing the floor is lava as a kid whenever I went to that shopping center because I had nothing better else to do. I had no phone, no video game console, so I'm like, all right, the blue tiles are lava, the yellow tiles are safe, or vice versa. It was really fun. I used to remember like even just like skipping along the blue tiles, which were in like this sort of you know, uh, what would you call it? The sort of diagonal pattern. I know it took me a long time to come up with the correct term, but it is that time of night. Anyway, um, and yeah, it just brought me back a lot of memories of that place. One very distinct memory that I wanted to relive was actually on the top floor. Now, I said there's nothing really all that much on the top floor, you know? You got your Rebel, you got your Service New South Wales and the Bingley. Um, and also you got like an elevator that takes you to where the apartments are. But, there's actually a bathroom on the top level. And I know I mentioned this in my first video how much I hate those like very narrow um, hallways that lead you to bathrooms in like shopping centers. And this is another case of that because um, in order to go to the bathroom on the top floor, you got to walk through this very narrow and windy corridor. Um, but as a kid, I used to remember, obviously going to the bathroom, and that was basically my version of the back rooms growing up as a kid. I'm not even joking to you because, as a kid, and even now, when I walked in there, it just has like that very sort of unnerving feeling. It's got that very uncanny feeling, You have like sort of like limited lighting, the walls are like yellow, and you got these like mini mirrors at the top so you can see what's around the corner. And even walking through there now, it just brings me back so it brings back all those memories as a kid of like going through that corridor and just like having that particular feeling or emotion, where it's like it's sort of creepy and uncanny in a sense, but I guess that's just due to how like cramped and narrow things are, and the fact that it's like very long, and much like the back rooms, you don't know what's going to be around the corner if you don't look at the glass. Yeah, it's got that very eerie vibe to it, but I love it, and it's one of those things in a plaza, much like the floor, which hasn't changed since I was a kid. So yeah, it does take a while to sort of go through the corridor, but instead of making me infurious, it actually made me kind of like nostalgic. As much as I dislike very narrow corridors that lead to bathrooms in shopping centers. Um, and excuse me, I don't know. I can't remember for the life of me if the bathrooms from when I was a kid were like different, the actual bathrooms themselves. But that doesn't really concern me because, um, my main interest is that sort of like backrooms esque narrow corridor which leads you to the bathrooms on the top floor of a shopping center, which for most people watching this video, they would even know. But anyway, and I guess the whole point of this video is just trying to like recreate that sort of subliminal space, right? A space which I guess like it's really complicated because the plaza itself is still there, right? The shopping center is still there, but so much has changed in the interior that it almost feels like a completely different place to when I was a kid. It's going through like your childhood suburb and just seeing all these new buildings and high rises. I mean, it's still fundamentally the same suburb, but so much has changed. It's like it just feels like a completely different new place. Same thing with Rockdale Plaza shops. Like, I can still notice some things are the same. Like the tiles are very backrooms esque. I should stop using that term, but it really does feel like it. The very narrow corridors that lead to the bathrooms, but at the same time, um, just seeing like all these new shops appear. Some shops merge together and they form like this very big grocery store. and you could still like recount where the old EB Games was. And I know where the old EB Games was. If you walk through the main entrance, you go all the way forward, and now that space is occupied by like a very big shopping center, or sorry, a very big grocery store. Because what they did was they knocked down the wall between the EB Games and I'm pretty sure the old Chemist Warehouse that was next to it, and they formed this massive sort of grocery store. But yeah, I remember, you just walk all the way forward and, it was right over there. There's still the Lowe's, which is nice, I like shopping at Lowe's. But yeah, it is sort of like, I guess, tough to see all your favorite shops go. And I know there was, before my day, a Blockbuster, Franklin's as well. But I guess, um, since I didn't really go to those establishments as a kid, I don't really have like a nostalgic attachment to like Blockbuster, Franklin's. Um, was there ever a Dick Smith? I believe there was also a Dick Smith at Rockdale Plaza shops, which is sort of like, um, well, well, it was an electronics store. I'm just trying to think of like an American example, but yet again, like it's just it was a brick and mortar electronics store before they went fully online, and that's what it's called, Dick Smith. All right, it's named after the real life Dick Smith, who's an Australian entrepreneur. Um, but yeah, and yeah, just a lot of good memories today. But at the same time, it is nice to, I guess, see some change in the old shopping center, which I used to go to a lot as a kid. Um, and something I like is the sort of ramp that leads down to the car park. They actually painted a mural back there in around 2022. Before it used to just be a plain sort of like wall, but now they painted a mural of like Rockdale and the surrounding icons, and amongst that, they even painted a mural depicting the old Cogra to Brighton Le Sands, sorry, Rockdale to Brighton Le Sands tram line. There used to be a small tram line up until I think it was 1939 or 1940 something that went from Rockdale Station to the nearby suburb of Brighton Le Sands along Bay Street. And obviously I am like a tramway enthusiast, a tramway nerd, and it was nice to see, that sort of acknowledgement of history in the Plaza, a place which I went to a lot as a kid, and you know, um, yeah, it's just nice. I wish I had that mural as a kid. I wish I got to see that every time I went inside or exited the shopping center. But yeah, apart from that though, yeah, it's just that whole theme, of you know looking at a sort of subliminal space in your mind and trying to like recreate what the an old familiar place is. You're trying to remember where things were. Um, you're like, hey, did this actually exist, or am I just like, thinking of things? But yet you have like no physical proof unless you like actually did some research or have old photographs. Um, you could say, oh, there might have been an EB Games hit, but I'm not 100% certain, And slowly that knowledge becomes lost over time. If you're willing to write a book about Rockdale Plaza shops, then I could be of assistance. I pretty much know where all the old shops was, at least from like the early 2010s to late 2010s ish. I have a very, I guess, um, very astute memory of that place from that period. But anyway, yeah, so I really, I guess, cap off this video. This has just been me basically reliving my past memories of a very specific shopping center in Sydney, but it's a shopping center which I have a lot of, I guess, attachment to. And going back there, even though I don't really go there much anymore, going back there today sort of allowed me to relive some of those memories and see how things have changed, see how things have stayed the same, and to really experience the, I guess, uh, like to recreate sort of some of the old memories I have in that place. You know, when I used to yet again go to the bathrooms on the top floor, going through those like very narrow and um, windy path to the bathroom because yeah, it was just something about that corridor that stuck in my mind. You know, the dimly lit um, sort of hallway, or just the fact that unless you were to look at the like mirror above, you wouldn't know what's around the corner, and the fact that um, it was only like it's so narrow that you can barely fit two people inside. So I think it like really made me claustrophobic as a kid, but I love it. It's like watching a horror movie as a kid, or very like uncanny movie as a kid, but then rewatching it as an adult, and you don't really get scared. You just get like nostalgic at all the bits which you were like previously like disturbed or unsettled about. That's basically my version. A very weird and specific sort of variation, but distinct nonetheless. And yet again, I want to hear your, I guess, experiences of like I guess an old place you went to as a kid. Could be a shopping center, could be a public place that has like changed a lot. Um, but you go to that place and you're trying to like relive some of your old memories, or you're trying to like spot what has changed, what has remained the same, um, and I guess like reliving some of those like uncanny or uh, slightly I guess like eerie places as a kid, and you don't really feel scared anymore. You just feel like nostalgic, or um, that sort of like not like pooping your pants scared, but it certainly did bring up memories of you as a child. Trying to like run through the corridor because you're scared of like what's that mythical monster behind you, when really it's just like some man who wants to get along with his day. It's like, why is that kid running down that very narrow corridor? He's gonna bump into someone, and then you try to like cook a right, and you bump into someone. Anyway, oh man, very fun memories indeed. But unfortunately, I have to I guess end it here before I blab on too much. But yeah, that was my experience today, and hopefully I'll go back there more regularly. But there's not much really there, that I can just pretty much get elsewhere. I mean, like all the sort of exclusive stores are gone. I guess you got some local stuff there, but if I want to go to JB, there's like a lot of other options near where I live. Same with Big W, Woolworths, Audi, um, Rebel as well, Bingley. But that's just the nature of change, and you know, I just maybe what, maybe I should document more of the Rockdale Plaza shops. Maybe I should go in there more often, take pictures, because I want to sort of see how it changes in another 10 or 20 years time. Um, because um, yeah, like, and because I think could be part of my Sydney a work in progress project. There, I got an excuse now. I got an excuse to go to that place. Um, but yeah, and yet again though, maybe some of you watching this video have had memories, or have been to that uh, specific place, Rockdale Plaza Shops. In that case, leave a comment down below. I want to hear your experiences. But anyway, that's enough of me talking. I can close all my books, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Take care. See ya.